Hey, Music Educators. So sometimes when you're working on a very big project, it could get sprawling and you can sort of lose track of where you are in the project and all the different moving pieces and what needs to go where. So one of the things I'm doing on day 2 of writing on a road trip is I'm looking at the overarching shape of this writing project, and I'm now getting more granular into each of the parts. And what that does is it lets me know, oh, maybe this should go here, this ought to go here. And that actually happened where about like a year and a half, 2 years ago, I was writing a bunch of parts, and I realized, and looking at this overview and kind of looking at where things were, that the stuff that I was writing a while back where I thought it was going to go, now I realize it needs to go somewhere else. So I'm kind of moving it around, and doing that overview, it helps me think across the whole project and shape it in a way that makes more sense now that different parts are coming together and realizing, oh, these different ideas cluster over here, these different ideas cluster over here. Now, if I were working in like a Word doc or a Google Doc, this would be very difficult. Now with Google Docs, you can use tabs, which is really helpful for kind of organizing things. So you can have tabs and sub-tabs, but it's still in a very large document. With Word docs, I feel like a project that's very large is very, very challenging, very difficult. I've moved over to using an application called Obsidian, which is really not designed necessarily for like very large scale writing projects. It's a lot of people use it for like note taking and things of that sort. I use it for that, but for writing projects, I find it to be really helpful because of the way that I can write modularly. And so I can write, for instance, about the idea of concepts, or I can write about different aspects of curriculum, and I can move things around. So here's an example of what I'm talking about here. You could see that you have all these numbers. These are various topics of things that I'm writing about, right? And so under here, we're looking at aspects of curricular frameworks. At one point, I was talking about selecting repertoire, addressing the outside curriculum, and I realized these ideas are not related to the curricular frameworks that I'm writing about in that area. They're actually more related to curricular content. And so what I need to do is move these parts of writing over to the curricular content area and move them out of this part of the text where it's talking about curricular frameworks. And so I'm going to reorder them, reorganize them, and it's like looking at the overview of all these various topics that helps me think through where it should go. And so this is a part of reorganizing and restructuring the content of what I'm talking about. And it takes a while to figure out where something ought to go, and it's constantly moving and evolving, and I'm constantly revising ideas. And that's a part of what I'm working on today on day 2 of writing on a road trip. So at some point, maybe I'll show you more of what this looks like, but for today, I think that's good. Hope you're having a good one, and let me know about any of your writing or reading that's going on during the summer, and I'll catch you next time. All right, bye.